It is 3 in the morning for someone right now, and they are not sleeping. Not because they cannot get comfortable, not because their mind is running through tomorrow's to-do list or replaying an awkward conversation from earlier in the day. They are awake because of you, because the specific, particular, impossible to replicate quality of your absence has settled into their bed like a presence of its own, a presence that does not let them drift. That pulls them back every time sleep starts to approach. That makes the quiet of their room feel less like peace and more like a space that is missing something essential. You are that something, and they are consumed by the missing of you in a way that they did not fully anticipate when whatever created this distance between you first happened. They thought they could manage it. They thought the absence would be bearable. They thought that with enough time and enough distraction and enough of the ordinary business of living, the specific weight of not having you would become something they could carry without it dominating everything. They were wrong. Stay with me, Virgo, because what came through in this reading is tender and specific, and I want to make sure every layer of it reaches you completely. Let me start where I always start when something comes through with this kind of intensity, with the energy itself, because before I can walk you through the details, I want to describe what it felt like when this landed, because the feeling of it tells you something important about the weight of what we are dealing with. I sat down, I shuffled, I opened to Virgo energy, and what came back was not a gradual gathering of impressions the way readings usually develop. It was immediate. A wave of something so heavy and so warm at the same time that I had to sit with it for a moment before I could begin to translate it. Heavy because of the longing in it, the specific, unrelenting, nowhere to put it quality of someone who misses another person with their whole body and has no adequate outlet for that missing. Warm because of the love underneath it, because what I felt was not a cold or desperate or grasping energy. It was love, real love, the kind that has been sitting quietly in someone's chest for a while now, patient and present and refusing to diminish even when the mind has tried to give it reasons to. This person loves you, and they cannot sleep because they love you and you are not there. I want to speak to who this person is because their energy is coming through with a vividness that I want to honor with real specificity. This is not someone who experiences their emotions loudly. That is the first thing Spirit is showing me about them. They are not the type who wears what they feel on the outside in a way that makes it easy for people around them to know exactly where they stand. They process internally. They hold things close. They have developed through whatever their own history has given them to develop it through a particular capacity for containment. This capacity has served them in many contexts. It has allowed them to function through difficult things without being visibly destabilized. It has given them a kind of steadiness that the people around them probably rely on and appreciate, but it has not served them when it comes to you, because what they feel when it comes to you is bigger than their containment capacity. It exceeds the infrastructure they have built for managing their interior world. And in the 3 in the morning stillness, when all the daytime distractions have fallen away and there is nothing between them and the full weight of what they carry, the containment fails completely. And what floods in is you, everything about you. The specific texture of being in your presence, the quality of your attention when it is directed at them, the sound of you, The particular way you see things and say things and move through the world that is unlike anyone else they have encountered, they replay it, all of it, in the dark, while sleep refuses to come. Hmm. Okay, Spirit is getting very specific right now, and I want to slow down and receive this properly before I continue. I am being shown a specific moment, a recent moment, where this person was in the middle of something ordinary, something completely unremarkable about their day, and something happened, something small, something that would not even register to most people as significant, that brought you into their awareness with such force that everything else stopped. Maybe it was a song. Maybe it was something someone said that used a phrase you use. Maybe it was a quality of light at a particular time of day that reminded them of a specific moment with you. Maybe it was something even smaller than any of those things. Whatever it was, it broke through everything, through the ordinary structure of their day, and through the careful management they had been applying to their feelings about you, and through every reasonable argument they had been making to themselves about why they should be further along in accepting your absence than they are. It broke through all of it and left them standing in the middle of their day, in the middle of whatever they were doing, completely present to the full weight of missing you. And that moment has not fully left them since. I want to describe what their nights look like because I feel it clearly, and I think it matters for you to understand the texture of what this person is experiencing. They get into bed, and for a few minutes, maybe the ordinary exhaustion of a day creates enough of a pull towards sleep that it seems like tonight might be different. That tonight the missing might be quiet enough to let rest happen. It is not quiet enough because somewhere between almost asleep and actually asleep, something activates some part of their awareness that is more honest than the daytime version, less managed, less protected by the busyness and the routine and the various strategies they employ during waking hours to keep things functional. And that honest, unprotected part reaches immediately for you and finds your absence instead. And the absence is loud, Virgo. Loud in the specific way that the absence of something essential is loud, not with sound, with presence. A presence that fills the space where you should be with the specific aching quality of what is missing. They lie there with this for a while, sometimes a long while, sometimes until the first light starts to come in through whatever window is near them, thinking about you, thinking about specific things, not abstract, general thoughts about the situation or the distance or what might happen next, specific things. The details of you that live in their memory with a fidelity that surprises even them given how much time has passed. Does this feel like it is connecting to someone specific for you, Virgo? Is there a face that has been rising in your own awareness lately? Someone whose energy you have been feeling even across whatever distance exists between you? Let me know in the comments. I want to know who came to mind the moment I started describing this person's sleepless nights. I want to speak to what this person has been doing during the days because I think understanding the contrast between their daytime functioning and their nighttime reality is part of what makes this reading so significant. During the day, they are fine, or they appear to be fine. They go about their life. They show up for the things they need to show up for. They engage with the people around them in ways that probably do not reveal much, if anything, about what is happening when the lights go out. They have mastered the specific art of daytime functioning in the presence of nighttime aching. But Spirit is showing me the cracks, the moments during the day where the management is not quite complete, where something slips through. The way they go quiet in the middle of a conversation, sometimes for just a fraction of a second longer than the conversation requires. The way certain topics redirect them inward, even when they are trying to stay present in the exchange. The way people who know them well have noticed something slightly different about them recently, a quality they might describe as distracted or distant or just not quite all there, without being able to identify the source. You are the source. You have been living in them in the daytime and the nighttime both, with a consistency and a completeness that they have not been able to address or resolve or reason their way out of. Let me speak to what they wish they could do, because I feel this very clearly, and I think it is the most tender piece of what is coming through today. They wish they could tell you, not in the complicated, layered, what would this mean for everything way that these things sometimes get thought about when the stakes feel high. In the simple, direct, I just want you to know way of someone who is tired of carrying something alone that was never meant to be carried alone. They have thought about reaching out more than once. They have probably started to compose something, a message, a call, some form of contact, and then stopped. Not because the wanting to reach out is not real, because the fear of reaching out and receiving something other than what they hope to receive is also real. The fear is specific. It is the fear of discovering that the absence they have been feeling so acutely has not been equally felt on your side. That what is consuming them at 3 in the morning has not occupied the same space in your experience. That the reaching out would make visible a vulnerability that, if not received with the warmth they hope for, would add a new dimension of painful to an already painful situation. This fear is the thing standing between them and the contact they want to make. And I feel that fear beginning to lose its grip. Inhale with me, Virgo, because I want to speak to something about your own experience of this person's absence, and I want to be honest rather than simply telling you what the energy around them is doing without acknowledging what has been happening on your side. You have had your own version of the 3 in the morning moments. I feel that maybe not identical to theirs, maybe not with the same specific texture or the same particular triggers, but something, moments of their presence arising in your awareness without invitation, moments of wondering, of turning something over in your mind that you perhaps tell yourself you have moved past, only to find it still there, still present, still occupying more interior real estate than you have officially allocated to it. I am not telling you what this means for what you should do or how you should feel about this person going forward. That is entirely yours to determine. But I am saying that what this reading is describing is not one directional. The missing and the sleeplessness and the consumption of someone's awareness are not happening in a vacuum. They are part of a connection that still has live energy in it, still has threads that have not been cut, still has something real at its center that the distance has not, despite its best efforts, managed to dissolve. What you do with that knowledge is yours, but the knowing itself matters. I want to speak to what Spirit is showing me about the trajectory of this, about what is building toward an expression in this person's behavior that is going to make what is currently invisible visible. Something is approaching a threshold, the specific threshold of someone who has been containing something enormous for long enough that the containment itself has become more costly than the vulnerability of releasing it, where the effort required to continue not reaching out has exceeded the effort that reaching out would actually require. This threshold is close. I feel it with a nearness that tells me this is not something that is weeks or months away. This is something that is happening in the near term. In the window of days, and perhaps a small number of weeks that follows this reading, when it arrives, when this person finally moves across the threshold they have been approaching, what comes forward is not going to be tentative or half-hearted or carefully managed into something smaller than it actually is, because what has been building behind the containment is not small. It is not a mild interest or a passing curiosity or a vague sense of maybe reaching out sometime. It is the accumulated weight of all those sleepless nights, all those moments of your name arising in the middle of their day, all those replaying of memories and replaying of specific things you said and specific ways you looked and specific qualities of being in your presence that have been living in them with such fidelity. All of that is going to come forward when the threshold is crossed in a form that is going to communicate without any possibility of misunderstanding exactly how consumed they have been. I also want to speak to something that I feel is important about the quality of what this person is feeling, because I do not want this reading to simply be about the intensity of their missing you without also addressing what that intensity says about the depth of what they actually feel. This is not attachment in the unhealthy, obsessive sense that can sometimes mimic what I am describing without having the same foundation. The energy of what this person carries does not have those signatures. It does not have the quality of someone who is focused on you because you represent something they want to possess or control or have access to for their own purposes. It has the quality of someone who genuinely loves you, who sees you, who has understood through the experience of your absence exactly what your presence meant to them in a way that the presence itself did not always make obvious, because presence can be taken for granted in ways that absence simply cannot. Your absence has made the value of your presence undeniable to them, and what they feel now is love that has been clarified by loss, love that knows what it is because it has felt what it is without. That is not a small thing to be the object of. That is one of the more significant things one human being can feel for another. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to leave you with something that I feel is the essential heart of everything that has come through today. You have been missed in the deepest possible way, not casually, not conveniently, not in the way of someone who misses a comfortable habit, in the way of someone who misses something that changed what was possible for them in terms of how they experienced being alive. That is what your presence did. That is what your specific, unrepeatable, extraordinary way of being in the world does to the people who are paying the right kind of attention when you are in it. It changes what alive feels like for them. And the removal of it, however it happened and whatever created the current distance, has left them with the undeniable evidence of that change. Every sleepless night is that evidence. Every moment of your name arising unbidden in the middle of their ordinary day is that evidence. Every replay of a specific memory, a specific quality of light, a specific thing you said is that evidence. You changed something in them. The kind of something that does not simply return to its previous state when the person who changed it is no longer present. And 3 in the morning is when they feel that most clearly, when there is nothing between them and the full, honest, unmanaged truth of what you mean to them. They cannot sleep without you, Virgo. And that truth, however it ultimately finds its expression in the space between you, is one of the most real things currently existing in either of your lives. If this reading touched something true in you today, please share it with a Virgo who needs to feel this energy. And leave me a comment below Tell me how this landed. Tell me if you felt this person's energy even before this reading named it. Tell me if there have been your own 3 in the morning moments where this connection has made itself known in the stillness. I read every single word you share. Every story matters to me deeply. Every comment carries weight with me long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo. Someone is awake right now thinking about you. And what they feel in that wakefulness is real, and it is significant, and it is the kind of thing that does not simply resolve itself quietly into nothing. It resolves itself into action, and that action is coming.